All right, guys and gals, back to work. Back to work. A fantastic day comes to an end. Hope you guys made some money out there today. But it's back to work tonight, right? We got one more day left this week. Friday is right around the corner. And I'll tell you, we have some really great charts and we have some really nice, easy setups, some great trades we're tracking for Friday. You know me, I'm going to cover all my favorite trade setups in tonight's video. That we get a game plan to make some money tomorrow going into the weekend. We have a lot we're going to cover and a lot of really great trades. I'm excited for tonight's video for you guys. Before we jump in though and get our hands dirty on these charts tonight, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Hit that bell icon. Set those notifications that we always get notified whenever we post something new. And if you guys enjoy the video tonight, do me a favor, hit the like button. Drop me a hell yeah in the comment section. I appreciate you guys tuning in, supporting this YouTube channel and watching tonight's video. But let's jump into the charts. Enough of the introduction. Let's get ready for Friday. Boy, lots of ranges right now. You can see here, range on the S&P, range on the Nasdaq. Beautiful range there on the crude oil. Whenever we see ranges, and I'm sure all of our members right now are smiling because you guys know how much I love range-bound markets. Whenever we see ranges, we're talking two things. We're talking reversals, absolutely, a lot of reversal potential for tomorrow, and we're talking breakouts, right? So breakouts and reversals, those are going to be two of the most consistent, most reliable ways to make money on Friday, and we have a masterclass ahead for you guys on breakouts and reversals here in this video tonight. I can see buy setups, short setups on all three of these markets. Now, before we jump in though, and get this party going tonight, let's make sure we all get on the same page for tomorrow. We do have some more news coming at 10 o'clock Eastern Time tomorrow. We have the existing home sales number at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We're also watching these Fed speakers right now. I don't think the Fed speakers are going to be as potent as they were earlier on this week. We've heard from quite a few Fed speakers this week. They have very much all said the exact same thing. I don't think we're going to get any big shocks from the Fed tomorrow, but I will have my data feed running, my news feed running tomorrow morning. We'll be paying attention to the Fed speakers tomorrow. We'll see if they surprise us, but they've all pretty much said the same exact thing, right? They're going to keep the rates rising higher. They want to keep it above 5%. You've seen the headlines already. So I don't expect too much out of the Fed speak for tomorrow. I would expect that 10 o'clock news, though, to be a definite catalyst. So keep that on your radar across all three of these markets for tomorrow. And again, don't forget, tomorrow's a Friday, right? Fridays are usually, they're going to be a relatively smaller window. So just be careful. What my focus on a Friday is I try to get into trades early in the day. And Fridays, Fridays love to run, right? Sometimes Fridays will just keep going and going and going because the volume dries up in the afternoon. So focus on good entries in the morning. And if you can hold on to a runner, especially if we can get some breakouts and some reversals here tomorrow. Fridays are great to leave a nice big runner into the close. You can oftentimes really get some great returns on the time there. Anyways, back to our charts though. Guys, I'm going to cover all my favorite trades on the S&P and the SPY, the Nasdaq and the QQQs, and of course the crude oil and the US. So guys, if you like making money, if you like growing your account, make sure you watch all the way to the end because every setup that I talk about tonight can be applied to your favorite market. So don't just click off after your favorite chart is done. I'm going to build as we go deeper into this video. And again, like I said, there's a lot of great trades we're tracking. Let's grab the S&P first. We'll go S&P, we'll go Nasdaq. We'll wrap things up on the crude oil. A couple things here. First of all, don't forget, these are all tick charts. You can see all the time frames in the upper left-hand corner. This is the 21 moving average, 21 EMA. Also be aware the Nasdaq and the S&P and the Nasdaq are very similar tonight. So again, these will build on themselves, right? What I talk about on the S&P can be applied to the Nasdaq, and we'll go deeper and build on these ideas as we go deeper. Also, too, like I always mention, I've got a bunch of additional chart time frames. I'm going to put those in the description of the YouTube video tonight. So I'll be talking about different ideas, different tactics. I would definitely recommend go in the description, grab those slower time frame charts because they'll match up really well with these charts we have in front of us, right? So grab those. They'll be a good companion for tonight's video. All right, let's get into it though. Let's get into it here. Now, there's a lot going on the chart right now, but the three kind of most important things that you want to be aware of on this is we're very much a mixed bias overall, right? We talked about this earlier on in the week. Look at the 60-minute chart right now. Very bullish, right? Since the beginning of the year, we definitely have the sellers. The sellers definitely showed their teeth today, right? We definitely did not get that big short squeeze, but I'll tell you, we had a fantastic day in the trade room. If you were ready for that pullback, trap in those buyers back to retest the low and then 1-2 back up, we didn't need that huge rip to really have a great day this morning in the trade room. So didn't get that huge squeeze we're hoping for from last night's video, but you can definitely tell the bears are holding on to this market. So we're definitely not as bullish as we were a couple days ago, but I'm not quite convinced yet of this bear market. Now I'll tell you, if the bears can hold this, if they can hold this range, if we can keep holding this thing down, then yes, we will have to call this a full bear bias right now. But right now, we have a trading range. We have a bear market into a trading range. The market rolls lower, rolls higher, and now here we have the market trying to roll lower and basically complete this rotation back and forth. We call this range rotation off the high. So right now, sellers are trying to finish off that rotation back to that low. But you can easily see what's happening. We have clearly a bull channel coming off those highs, off those lows. And I'll tell you, if the sellers, if they can't finish this job right now, if the bears get trapped selling into this rising support, remember, anytime we see failed rotation off the high, this could easily punch, right? Trigger some stops, and we get some great reversal zones up overhead. So the most important thing right now is the bears definitely have this, but they have to finish off this rotation. If they do, right, the bears will keep control of this. So what would my favorite trade right now? What would my favorite trade for tomorrow? If there's a trading god up there watching down to that on my video, what I hope we get for tomorrow is I'd love to trap in some of these bears, right? Use another one of those, right? Let them try once, let them try twice, and use their stops as fuel. We talked about this quite a bit in last night's video. I'd love to see something like that. Use a failure setup. We call it 2-try failure, and get that reversal off the low and get this run going higher. We'll probably have chances here for bear traps below that low, up around that reversal zone target, up around that 39.67. That would be a fantastic trade for us here tomorrow morning. Another one of my favorite trades would be as we go lower, same thing, right? Same thing, right? Letting them try twice, and then simply once they try twice, popping right into those stops, right? I like that one as well, buying off that low. As you can see, the sellers have a difficult time right now. The sellers, they have to really break through these lows, right? They've got to hold and kind of break through here, or else the buyers have a fantastic window for a reversal. So let's break this down a little bit more. Let's get more details on this, and we're going to cover the market going higher. We're going to cover it going lower as we go deeper into this video here tonight. Now, remember, we're still pretty bearish. We're still pretty bearish overall right now. So if I can get the bears to try twice, think about now where their stops are, and where do you think the buyers want to go? Yeah, they want to take out that high right there. So if I can get some stops getting run here, we can use what I call a failure setup. Now it has to be a 2-try failure because we're still pretty bearish overall, right? The buyers they definitely don't have control of this market, but I like the opportunity off that hidden channel to run some stops, nice signal, and get that pop higher. Now we got to be careful on this because they're going to want to go back and retest that high, right? So what we'd like to do is, if they can get this thing to pop through and start to kind of grind going higher there, draw that trend line off that high, find that hidden channel, and then we look for bear trap, right? Below the moving average, below swings, we look for seller failures, right, below the moving average. We look for pullback combinations, right, coming off the 21 EMA. And again, I've got that reversal zone target up overhead. Really, really would love to get something like this, right, going higher. Another potential would be, again, trapping in these bears, using those stops. We really punch and we start grinding, right? We're drawing that trend line tight, finding that channel, looking left, finding those prior swings. And we're applying pretty much all the same entry patterns that you guys are learning in our free trading course, right? Things like traps, failures, pullbacks, strength trades, right, as we're going higher. And remember, I know that most of you guys have taken our free trading classes. You've learned all of these specific entry tactics. But if you're watching for the first time right now, if you haven't taken the free class and learned all the specific entries I'm talking about tonight, what I'll do is I'll put a little link up here for you in the upper right hand corner. Grab that link, take the free trading course. You're going to love it. The strategy that I teach in that free class will show you a stupidly simple trick to know where the best trades will be each day so you can stay patient for those. And I'll show you 4 different entry patterns to kickstart you making money on your own account. If you're tired of missing the best trades, or if you're making too many losing trades right now, definitely take that free trading course. It's perfect for someone trying to add another income stream, quit their job, right, get a full-time career going, right, in day trading. So I like that move going higher. Now, one more thing I would be aware of is again, the bears are still very much in control right now. As we go higher, how could I sell it? And don't you forget, I'm going to cover the buy side here in a second. Don't go clicking off of me just yet. How do we sell it as we go higher? Well, we're still pretty bearish, but what's the problem now? Now we get a big problem. Now we've got a failed rotation. That's a major embarrassment. It's a major failure, right, for the sellers. And then we have, of course, a rising support trend line. So we have some big problems, right? There's a lot of smoke pouring out of the bear engine right now if this thing goes higher here and takes out those highs. So we can sell it, but we have to be very careful. And the way you be careful is a crown reversal. Okay, the crown reversal is going to be a 2-try failure pattern, just like we talk about in the free trading course. But because of that rising support trend line, we're going to need to get a trap. Traps are my favorite short, or my favorite entry pattern. Well, they're my favorite entry pattern overall, but they're the one you want to use whenever you have a trend line coming up. And so what you want to think about here is again, this of course now is a lot of concern there for those bears at this point, trapping those buyers, right, who are getting a little bit too high up, right? We don't want to buy into that high. We want to buy into stops right down here. If we can get those buyers trapped, we can use that bull trap, right? I call it crown reversal. And then as we go lower, we can then look for that retest, right, off that channel or off that trend line low, trying to go back down and retest that low, right? This is the way you want to think about selling it if it goes higher. Again, these types of trades right here are the only reason why I can really be confident in this is because of the overall bearishness we've seen in the last 2 weeks, right? If we were 2 days ago, I wouldn't even think about selling that. Right? Just because, again, that rotation off that low, that rotation going higher is oftentimes too strong to short into it. So really be careful, really be selective on the entry. If you don't get a good short entry off that trap, just wait for it to roll over. It'll be a much more reliable short going back below that trend line, because now we've got confirmation the bears are holding off that high, right? Hopefully that makes sense. So again, my favorite trades here right now are that bear trap and that pop back up. Again, we've got some levels waiting up overhead. And again, if you check out that chart I put in the description, I think you'll see why there's a lot of potential for that right now. Again, still very bearish. Okay, now next big question. Another one of my favorite trades for tomorrow is retesting this low, because of course, right, we've got these big triangles right here. I'll tell you right now, one of the easiest ways to make money in a range, right, is buying low, selling high, and using these expanding triangles, right? So let's talk about that, but let's go to the NASDAQ, because the NASDAQ is going to be very similar here to the S&P 500, right? NASDAQ is literally almost the exact carbon copy. I would say though, if you go check out the time frame, the bigger picture chart I put in the description, I think you'll agree the NASDAQ looks a hell of a lot more bullish right now than the S&P does, right? You'll see what I'm talking about, right? It's really difficult to call the Nasdaq a bear market right now. I get it. I get it. The bears, they showed their teeth today. They held the lows, right? Again, didn't get that massive squeeze, but again, we still got that nice deep pullback, trapping the buyers in. They retest the low, 1, 2. That one didn't go, 1, 2. That one finally went. So again, we didn't need that big squeeze to really find some great trades this morning. The reality now is that again, this trap right back up, big reversal target overhead, same game plan I just talked about on the S&P can be applied there. And again, same short, right? Crown reversal off the high. So same game plan to talk about. Now, as we go lower, we got the low of that triangle. So buyers can buy the seller failure, right? Literally, look at that pattern right there. Same thing right there. And as you can see, the sellers have to hold this. They have a hard job tomorrow. Can it be done? Absolutely, it can be done. Look at what happened the last 2 days. The market's obviously concerned about earnings and sentiment and global growth and blah, 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 right? So the bears could easily take this lower, but they have to hold these lows. Now, if they can hold these lows, both the S&P and Nasdaq have big, juicy ranges down there. That's where the market wants to go next. Ranges act like magnets. It's not just the S&P, it's also Nasdaq as well. So look at those ranges back. And again, you'll see this stuff on that slower time frame. So as we go lower, we're talking reversals and we're talking breakouts for sure. What you want to think about is that same, well, we saw it right here today, right? Took out that low. The bears try once. The bears try twice. We use stops as fuel to go higher. But remember, at that point, once we get that reversal going higher, where do they want to go? And we talked about this last night. They want to go take out that high. So what do? You mark up that new channel. You find that high, you find that low, and you don't miss the first test off the low. I'll tell you, if you watched last night's video, you had literally a great roadmap to make quite a bit of money in today's market. So we go lower. We're still very bearish overall, right? So I can't just buy down. I mean, you can, but what happens is you try to buy into these lows. Oftentimes it keeps going, right? And you'll get stopped out and then it will run without you. So I'm not a big fan of buying into the low. What I'd rather do is try to trap in some of these sellers and use their stops as fuel. And to do that, we use what's called the 2-try rule. We talk a lot about this in that free trading course that I mentioned linked up above there. So bears try once, right? Bears try twice. Once those bears try twice down here, now we know where their stops are, right? And when those bears get stopped out, they have no other way to get out but to buy their way out, right? That's why stop runs are so, at least for me, one of my favorite ways to trade ranges, right? So stops get hit, 2 tries for the bears, and we go higher. Now at this point now, where do the buyers want to go? We know where they want to go. They want to go right back there, right? They want to go back up, take out that high. Ideally, they want to go back to the other side, right, of that triangle, right? And at the same time, the amount we go below, the amount we go above, right? We'll know more about that once we get there. Then again, we get our 2-try failure, just like that one. Really, both of those, right? They're exactly the same thing, only one of them triggered though, right? So again, 2-try failure, and then from here, we draw off that trend line off that high, we mark it off that low, and again, as I always say, look for swings. Right? Look for swings. Now, obviously, this is a much slower time frame. We're not going to be trading off this, in the trade room, right? On the faster time frames, you'll see those swings on there, and you'll see examples of this stuff inside the free trading course, right? Could be a bear trap, could be a buyer failure, right? Could be a pullback combo, strength moves, right? As we rotate coming in off of that low. So as we go lower, I can buy a seller failure into that first test pullback as we try to make a rotation back higher. And, I talked about earlier how tomorrow's a Friday, right? So we might see something like this later in the morning. We get that 10 o'clock home sales tomorrow. We may see something like this late morning, and this could easily be one of those times where, and again, right, we don't know what's going to happen, but we could easily grind and keep on fluttering, right? Be a great example of leaving a runner, right, on a situation like a Friday. Okay, now, back to the bear side though. As we go lower, I can't sell down here, right? We can't get in the habit of selling into support, not with a range magnet above us. So what would be some breakouts we could use? And again, this would also apply to the S&P as well. Oil is a little bit of a different animal. So oil is going to be a bit of the oddball out. You'll see why I say that in a moment. As we go lower here, Okay, what didn't happen over here? What didn't happen back there? We saw some nice strong runs down, but they couldn't hold it, right? They got lower low, couldn't hold it. That's the key. They have to take out these lows. They have to pull back to that 21 moving average, and they either have to jump off that moving average or they have to basically grind, right? Which is basically just the buyers getting the heck out of the way, right? So those are the two components you want to see here. Take out that low, pull back to that 21 EMA, give me a jump off that moving average. Remember, if we see this thing just rip off that 21 EMA, that gives us a strong move down. Anytime we see a strong move, we're expecting another leg in the same direction. I can now draw my channel backwards off the low, bring it up around that high, look for those prior swings. And again, I love traps, but this could be any of the entry setups. It could be a bull trap like I'm showing here. It could be a buy failure, right? Oftentimes these will get just a little bit above the 21 moving average, right? When it gets above the 21, the buyers will come in, try to buy it back up. It's too bearish, right? Once those buyers come in, their stops are just sitting there, just begging to get punched, all right? Where's my target down here? Where's my target on a breakout? Anytime we have a range breakout, first leg is the measuring leg, third leg is the symmetrical leg. Right? So again, if we do see some, and again, we have a pretty good idea of where the market wants to go on the NASDAQ, over on the S&P. I mean, look at the size of that range down there, right? This thing is just begging to get hit tomorrow. But again though, right? The bears have to get lower if they can't hold this and go again 1, 2, whoop, right back up into that range. Those are some of my favorite trades there, right? Anyways, so S&P, NASDAQ, both have ranges below. If we can get that 1, 2 pop going lower, and obviously I'm simplifying this right now to show you targets, right? Find that short off the high, right? Again, the entry, of course, off the top of that channel. We're not selling that first pullback. Okay, promise me you're not going to get caught selling that first pullback. I don't care how convincing that first leg is. Okay, we see a lot of times where it'll slam lower, and you're like, "Oh boy, these bears mean business." But then they come back and they go, and you're like, "Oh no, they're not going anywhere." And before you know it, whoop, it's right back up. Right, again, verbatim of these prior setups we saw before. Take out that low, hold that pullback, blast. Right, then that leg right there, that's the leg that we measure. Right, that's the leg now we measure, right, for our measuring leg. The other one is the pop and grind, right? So we take out that low, we start to grind down. The grind is a really big giveaway. It's a really big giveaway. It pretty much tells us that whatever buyers were there, they're not there anymore, right? Usually grinders tell us these are not sellers who are selling down here. This is the opposite side of the market, just ducking for cover, right? They're getting the heck out of the way. And so in that situation, we draw that channel nice and tight off those lows. We find some nice big swings overhead. We anchor it down off that high, right? And then we go out, find swings, and then look for that first test, right, off the high of that channel, right? Could be a bull trap, could be a buyer failure, right? Pullback combo, first leg, third leg, right? That will help you squeeze out all that profit out of that trade. The easiest way to make more money in trading, as I talked about last night, don't trade more often. Right? Just get better at holding on to your positions, because if you know where the market wants to go, sometimes I'll sit there for an hour or two and just wait for the thing to keep on, right, finishing up that move. All right? Those are probably two of the safest breakouts going lower. I was going to say possibly a 2-try breakout, but that's a gamble. That's a gamble. Not around these lows here. Now, I would say, let's talk about the buy side here again. I would say if we ripped here overnight, right? This is a pattern you could use going higher here. If we ripped higher going overnight, again, this could also apply to the S&P. We rip higher, strong move, shallow pullback, higher high in price. I think you'll see a lot of buyers buying that trap, right? Now, again, it doesn't really make a lot of sense down here. You'd really have to get a very strong breakout going lower. It would have to like literally just rip lower. But usually those will be pop and grinds. You know what I mean? That's usually not going to get you could, right? Might happen, but probably not going to be. So if we do see, again, because now we have failed rotation, right, off the low, if it was to just rip going higher, strong move, shallow pullback, higher high in price, we call these 2-try traps or 2-try breakouts. And that's a very reliable setup, but you have to be careful how you apply it, right? In this situation, it works more going higher because you've got the short squeeze involved. It doesn't make a lot of sense going lower because you're being forced to sell really low. We want to see more proof as we go lower. And again, NASDAQ has some great reversal targets up overhead. It's interesting right now because the NASDAQ, that's the prior week close, right? So if the buyers really got this thing ripping, they'd go right back to that 1601 half, right? That's last Friday's closing price on the NASDAQ. The same thing is in play here on the S&P. Where is it? It's a little bit higher up, right? Where is it? Wow, look at that. So probably not realistic to get the Friday's close on the S&P. Again, you'll see the NASDAQ's a lot more bullish right now than the S&P is, right? So we'll see what we get here for tomorrow. But now you know my favorite trades. And like I always say, don't make predictions, right? Make a game plan. That way you've got the knowledge you need to make money no matter what these crazy markets throw at us. All right, wrapping things up here tonight on the mighty crude oil. Oil's a bull market. Right, oil's a bull market. Again, I'm going to give you guys some longer-term time frames, and you'll see what I mean. Right, the Bears had a fantastic job to hold this. Right, on the Nasdaq and the S&P, the Bears held it. Right, oil did nothing of the sorts. Right, to oil, this is nothing more than a deep pullback and a great buying opportunity. The buyers came roaring back in. So unless something changes overnight, remember, oil is very much driven by China right now, very much driven by news right now. So, all things equal, right now, oil is very, very bullish. And so because of that, on that bull 60-minute chart that I have in the description, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's tough to call oil a bear market on the hourly chart right now. That will be the lens that will look at this chart here through here right now. What would my favorite trade be right now? I'll tell you, there's a lot of good trades right now on all of these charts. I think my favorite trade right now would be a trap low off this low, right? Trap in some bears and back up again, right? Can you use that range rotation, right? It's not a bear market right now. So you could probably really get some bear traps in below these lows, right? Below prior swings, off that kind of triangle low there. I think that's my favorite trade for tomorrow. I'm not sure if we're going to get it because you can see they're doing a pretty good job at holding this high right now. So the next good trade will be the breakout going higher, right? I really don't like, for example, the short off the high. On the S&P and the NASDAQ, I will definitely entertain that short off the high because of the overall mixed bias, right? We're not quite bullish on the S&P and the NASDAQ right now, which is why I will definitely entertain that trade. On a market like oil right now, you're just asking to get steamrolled, trying to short that top, right? Because again, it's a range, and the way that ranges work, bull market into a trading range, if I'm bullish into a range, the two ways you make the most amount of money is you buy support below the range, right? Or you buy breakouts above it, right? There's not a lot of selling that goes on when you get a bull market into a range, and that's only the short term, right? The long term is also very bullish. So as we go higher, this is where you have the pick of the litter, right? You literally the pick of the litter as we go higher here, if we go higher here, right? First one, 2-try trap. So strong move going higher, shallow pullback, higher high in price, traps, baby, right? Easy setup. Make sure you understand how it works, though. Okay, it needs to get that. It needs to get that shallow pullback, that higher high in price. Okay, if it does this, if it goes up and goes like that, that's not it. Okay, the lower high is not it. Okay, that's more likely now to roll over. Okay, you want to see it pop. It'll separate off the moving average. Shallow pullback drives the pullback. Traders crazy because they can't get in. The higher high confirms the setup, and you go for that trap, right? Pretty easy objectives here. This is that big high from yesterday, 82.66. I would imagine if buyers, what they really want tomorrow, they'll take out some of these 83 levels up there. That's your buyers, really kind of your buyer's objective as we go higher. Another option is the pop and grind, right? Pop and grind right here. Look at this one right here, right? Pop up, grind. These are easy. Mark that high, mark that low, find those swings. I'm not making these things up, guys. You can see these things repeat over and over again. So think about this pattern right there up here. Just get into it before you get back to these. Well, in all reality, you probably can still trade it even after you get back to the high because it's so darn bullish at that point, right? So if it pops up and starts to grind, right? Again, you know how to do this. Mark that high, anchor off that low, find those swings, and just simply wait for that pullback. Once you get that pullback, and again, you'll see a lot of examples of these type of entries in that free trading course linked up in the upper right-hand corner, right? But, bear trap below that swing low, sellers come in, try to foolishly sell below the moving average, hit those stops for a failure into a pullback combination. Now, remember, we have a good idea of where the market wants to go. First leg, right? Third leg, that will be a very good way to look at that final exit target. Again, you want to make more money, don't trade more often, right? Trade a bigger position size. That takes some time, right, to grow your account. And if I have it my way, you'll grow your account nice and fast. But, squeeze those, let those runners run, right? And again, with tomorrow being a Friday, it could be one of those days where it really just kind of slowly floats higher or slowly floats lower, right? We pop up, we take out that high, we hold the pullback, and we jump, right? We jump off that moving average. We really break through that prior structure high. We mark off that high, mark off that low. You get the point now, right? Find that first entry off of that channel, right? This does not need to be that complicated, right? And again, you could be a little more aggressive going higher because we're already very bullish overall, right? On the S&P and Nasdaq, we're kind of waiting for that turn, and then we can go in and get more aggressive on it. As we go lower, like I said, my favorite trade on this will be going lower, getting right into some of these levels here, right? Trapping in some of these bears, right? Getting those bears, take the bait, getting them to sell short, and literally punching their stops out, right, and going higher. If we're lucky, we'll get that failure into that, right, into that first test is the best test that we talked about earlier, right? If we're lucky, we'll get a combo, right? Because again, if we trap in the bears down here, right, to try failure, again, you'll learn more in the video classes, and then bear trap, failure pattern, pullback pattern. Where do they want to go? You know where they want to go. They want to take out that high, right? They want to go back up to these triangle levels, right? They want to go take out that pendulum swing, right? And again, these are some of those trades where I wouldn't argue anybody getting rid of that final target and just seeing how far it might flutter, right, as it finishes up the session. Because again, it's a Friday. Fridays tend to have those. A lot of times Fridays will close right at their high or right at their low, right? So keep an eye on that. Now, how do we sell this thing going lower? I'm not a huge fan of selling it as we go higher because again, we're too bullish. But, you can't deny the fact there's a very strong move down there from yesterday. Oil probably got dragged down yesterday right along with the S&P and the Nasdaq, right? The way the market responded today, the way that oil popped up today when it kind of feels like oil just got kind of dragged down yesterday with everybody else, right? So if the S&P and the Nasdaq get dragged down, it may drag this thing right back down. How do I sell though down here? Because as I go lower, right, I'm running right into key support. With a bull market range, you do not want to sell right here. Okay, that is a disaster. That's a bear trap. It's an easy bear trap. Okay, in fact, hopefully people who are not watching this video, hopefully do sell down there. We can use their stops as some rocket fuel. The way you want to short this thing as it goes lower is it pretty much needs a pop and grind, right? We need to see it pop down and begin to grind down. And then once we start seeing that grind, we go, okay, I see where you're going now. You want to go back to retest a low? Now, what's the challenge down here? We're very low. How do you avoid selling low? Traps, right? You look for traps. I know I talk about traps a lot. In fact, I'll put my drinking game out on Amazon later on this year. Every time I say the word trap, take a shot. I'm kidding with you. But that's the way you want to short this, right? That's the way you want to short this. Again, we have to wait for the momentum to kind of confirm, make sure it's not a bear trap right there. And the problem with these situations is that by the time we have enough confirmation that we have a short on our radar, now we're so darn low down here. I don't want to sell low. I have to sell as high as I can sell, and the best way to do that is some bull trap, right, above a prior swing. And think about it, right? Think about it. This could easily get down to those lows, and then we see another one of those same double bottom, 1, 2, and punch it right back up again. I mean, in all reality, that's not a bad trade either, right? It's not a bad trade whatsoever. This is kind of a bigger example of what we saw today on the S&P and the Nasdaq, right? You know, big, deep pullback. Again, doesn't seem likely right now, but who knows, right? This could easily happen tomorrow. So again, looking for traps as we go lower. Once we take out that low, mission accomplished now. We still have a range above us, which is still a very big magnet. If the sellers, if they can't hold down here, right? If the bears can hold and break down, okay, now we're in business going short those lows. But if the bears come in, right, they try a couple times, use those stops as fuel, and we'll punch it right back higher, and then again grab that first test off the low of that channel. And obviously I'm keeping it pretty simple right now. We've covered a lot of the details on this already in this video. All right, guys. Boy, I'll tell you, a lot of clean charts tonight. You know, I'm always pretty excited about the trades for the next day, but there's a lot of really clean setups right now, so I'm very optimistic, very excited for tomorrow morning. Which, speaking of which, don't forget, the game plan is all put together now. Game plan's ready, right? But putting the game plan together is one thing. Tomorrow we're going to go out and we'll trade this stuff together. This is why we have a trade room, right? There really isn't any better place to learn this stuff and trade along with me than doing it with me every morning in our trade room. If you're not getting the results you want right now, if you're making too many mental mistakes, what are you waiting for? Come out and do it with me. We open up every morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time. I'll put all the membership links. I'll put all the free course links. I'll put all the additional chart time frame links. I'll put them all down in the description of the YouTube video. If you have any questions, the easiest way to get help with anything is just to call the office. All right, my wife Megan and I are always here. All right, I know I go fast on these videos. I try to keep them short for YouTube, but we can easily slow this down, make sure we have all the pieces put together, and make sure you're ready for trade, and make sure you're ready to start making some money with us in our trade room. So don't be afraid to call the office. Use that live chat there. That's the easiest way to get help. If you have any questions about getting into the trade room or the free trading course or anything I've talked about tonight, don't be afraid to call or use live chat. I would love to hear from you in the comment section. I would love to know what you love about the newsletter, what you hate about the newsletter. How can I make it better? I'm always trying to make this video more profitable for you guys. So let me know. Give me a holler in the comment section, and also let me know too what your game plan for tomorrow is. What's your favorite trade? Love to hear from you guys down in the comment section. All right, guys, tomorrow morning I will see you guys in the trade room. If not, we'll come back next week. Got a big week next week. The next 2 weeks are earnings weeks, right? With the boring banks this week. Next week, though, we're going to spice things up a little bit, right? So you'll definitely want to tune in next week to our video newsletter as well. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you always get notified, and we'll see you guys next time. As always, be well, be nice to each other, go make some money tomorrow, and we'll see you guys next time, guys. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.